upon which the new commonwealth will be built. I think that can relate to, or can be related to, exactly what's going on with us right now. Jeremiah bemoaned his own fate. Why had he been the one chosen to not only foretell the horrors, but to witness them, and even to be at the mercy of the brethren he had been trying to save? But there is no doubt the exiles in Babylon found strength in his prophecy that there would be a redemption and glory 70 years after the destruction. Jeremiah did not live to see his prophecy fulfilled, but many of those who had heard the prophecies were among the ones who returned with Ezra and Nehemiah to inaugurate the second temple. So that means, yeah, they went into exile. Slim said something about 70 years. He didn't live to see it, but Ezra and Nehemiah did, and it happened. It went down the way the Most High told him to tell his people it was going to happen. Just like the Most High told Abraham what was going to happen. And well, this is kind of, before I go to chapter 36, I'm going to touch on this. See, one thing I believe about these scriptures is they're not to be debated, they're not to be argued, but they can be used for correction, and instruction and reproof, as they say. But if you wanted to make it look one way, or if you wanted to mean this to you, that's up to you. That's between you and the Most High, right? To an individual who's truly seeking, the truth, regardless how it gets presented, if it's the truth, a true seeker of truth, a true student of the scriptures, you're going to receive it. We told y'all in the very beginning, we're not theologians, we're not pastors, we're not religious leaders. We're seekers of truth. We're students of the word. We're students of the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, I know there's a lot more out there that I don't know. I'm not saying I got enough to get by, but what I think was holding me back the Most High has fixed that aspect. To have my religious blinders on, I'm like, oh man, you can't tell me nothing outside of Jesus and the Sabbath and Ellen G. White and God. He's removed all of that madness from my mind. So now I'm free to receive truth as it comes through the Ruach, like he said it would. It leads us into all truth. But some people don't want that. And that's cool. And I get tired of sitting here week after week, whether it be with Brad or by myself, talking about the same thing over and over again, because I feel impressed to. We don't have a script. That's just what comes out. Like, that's what I feel is the most important thing. For y'all to understand that, yes, his name matters. But there's a lot we don't know, but I know his name matters. It doesn't matter that much in Christianity, but it matters to those who are seeking truth. And if you profess to be of Yasharal, if you profess to be descendants of the Israelites, even if you profess it or not, if you're here by way of the transatlantic slave trade, you are. That's just history. A lot of people don't care about history because that happened then, this is now, whatever. It's your funeral. You know what I'm saying? It's up to you, but I mean, I'm about at the point of washing my hands of it, and that goes for several different things. Like, the Most High has had us in 3 different studios up to this point. We started at E-Life Media. It was right around the corner at Voxwave. Now we're here, and each move has been an upgrade. And each host was necessarily not in alignment with where the Most High had us, as far as beliefs. But they were facilitators. They gave us platforms to speak this truth. And our understanding has evolved from the first studio to now. And I mean, maybe it's time to take this truth out of the studio. Maybe it looks too much like something that's supposed to be on TV instead of right there in your face. Because I mean, it's supposed to be it was like it's supposed to be an opportunity for like a teaching type. But I don't know too many people really want this. You know what I'm saying? The few people that watch this joint that are associated with us, they already know. New people, they scared of it. And if you're looking for it, if you're seeking the truth and you want to know more, you can reach out to us. Leave some comments, ask some questions, but you can't ask nobody else what we know or where we get our information from. You got to ask us. Come to the studio. Call in. You know what I'm saying? But if you call in with opposition or nonsense statements trying to defend something that we already know ain't relevant no more, you keep that to yourself. But if you're seeking truth, holla. We let you know what books we got. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't about I know more than you know. You're wrong and I'm right. We've come from where a lot of you are at. That's what needs to be understood. We've come through that already, and ain't going back. Can't go back. There's no reason to. Ain't nothing to go back to. Doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Look at what Jeremiah did. He wasn't even young man. Life got not taken from him, but he was required to devote it to talking to a group of people that didn't give a dap blame about nothing he was saying. All they wanted him to do was say stuff that sounded good. If all we was doing was sitting here saying stuff that sounded pleasant, we'd probably have hundreds of followers and thousands of viewers if we were just saying what sounded good, like a lot of these pastors do, like a lot of these bishops and apostles and preachers and priests, whatever they faking, doing, they telling you what sound good. They might sprinkle a little truth in there. That's all a lie is the truth mixed with error. If you ain't giving raw, uncut truth, and you're going against the grain, you know. And like I said, it's whatever with whoever. But I'm gonna read this Jeremiah 36 because this is what the Most High showed me. I'm gonna touch on it a little bit before I read because I love Ezekiel 20. It makes so much sense to me when I read it. How he used Ezekiel to let the elders of Israel know. See, and the prophets that he chose to pick, the people that he chose to speak to his people through were not leaders of the church. He didn't speak through the scribes and the Pharisees. He didn't speak through the elders in the Old Testament or in the Torah. He didn't speak through the elders of Israel. He sent prophets to the elders of Israel to call the elders together to give them instruction and correction. Most of the time they didn't listen. They were more prone to listen back then than they were in the time of the Savior. But you're talking about a whole different class of Israelite. They had been tainted with all types of pagan traditions and Greek influence because during the Maccabean Empire, which is the Maccabees in the Apocrypha, Alexander the Great and the Greek rule of the known world at that time, the old world or whatever, they ran down on Jerusalem just like everybody else, and killed all the men. They took captive some, left some feeble ones and some undesirables, and they came back and just instilled their influence. But Yahweh was not going. He's not going to be erased by some pagan deity that he prophesied. He told Daniel to let Nebuchadnezzar know this was going to happen, that the Greeks were going to come into power. And the only reason they're significant is because they had their hands on Yasharel, and the Most High keeps his eye on his kids. So everywhere we were going to go, that's what he showed Nebuchadnezzar. That's what Daniel broke down. He ain't telling about. We ain't never been to Russia. You don't see Russia in prophecy. We ain't never been, in connection with China. They're mentioned in prophecy, but not in regards to the children of Israel. All the kingdoms of the world, in some way, shape, or fashion, I'll mention it. I don't know exactly where it is, but it wouldn't make sense to assume that Yahweh will show us about Egypt, Babylon, Greece, Rome, but we know about all these other Japan, China, Russia, North Korea, France, Spain, but all these nations that aren't directly mentioned by name, like those four are, but they're in there. There's the kings of the north, the kings of the south, and this nation, that nation. But you just got to be diligent and line by line, precept by precept to find this information out. But he telling these people, look, man, I did this for y'all. Like, he showed them something. And I don't believe he felt like he had to keep showing them. Why does he have to part every Red Sea that they get to for them to believe that he has the ability to do it? Why does he have to constantly make it rain bread or quail so they'll know that he can do it, that he is who he said he is? It wasn't even about what they were visually seeing. They wanted to hear what sounded good. They wanted their ears pleased and probably closed their eyes when they heard words that they didn't like oh, no, I don't want to hear that. Because if you hear it, you might see the imagery. So at least you're going to try to stop it in your head or something. Whatever I don't know. But apparently what he showed his people wasn't enough. Because they kept messing up. Just like we do. And you'll hear it. This is what the Most High said in Jeremiah 36. It happened during the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, that this word came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, take a scroll book, and write on it all the words that I have spoken to you concerning Israel, concerning Judah, and concerning all the nations, from the day that I first spoke to you, from the days of Josiah unto this day. So clearly, and I didn't go back. Matter of fact, let's just see how chapter 1 starts. The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah of the Kohanim, who were in Anatoth, in the land of Benjamin, to whom the word of Yahweh came in the days of Josiah, son of Amon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign. The words of Yahweh came to him also in the days of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, to the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, son of Josiah, king of Judah, until Jerusalem was exiled in the 5th month. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. This is what got me. This right here. This is what got me, right? I was at Oakwood. The word of Yahweh came to me saying, this is Jeremiah saying, the word of Yahweh, something inside me said, behold, I formed you in the belly. I knew you. Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you left the womb, I sanctified you. I established you as a prophet unto the nation. I don't know that I've ever read this out of here. I know I've read it a lot of times out of here. I don't know that I've ever read that out of this Tanakh. The word of Yahweh came to me saying, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you left the womb, I sanctified you. I established you as a prophet unto the nations. But I said, alas, Master Yahweh Elohim, I do not know how to speak, for I am just a youth. That's all I'm going to read from there, because that's another thing. I thought about that when I was in the gas station just now. I don't really know how to talk to people like talking about, unless I'm talking about this. If I ain't talking about this, I don't have really much conversation. I don't. And I believe the same exact thing happened to me in my mother's womb. That he knew me and sanctified me for something. So I'm still here through a lot of madness. Now, I got to go back and read the rest of it. I'm not going to go into that right now. But I didn't even realize he said that. I don't know how to speak. I think that was Moses' excuse too. He ain't know how to talk. I'm not the most. I know I talk a little different, and I'm not as articulate as some. May not know what words to use all the time. May use some words wrong, but the passion is for the truth, not for how you hear me or how you perceive me or what you think of me. That doesn't even matter. Did you get what was said? Did you get what was said? It happened during the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, 36 of Jeremiah, king of Judah. And this word came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, take a scroll book, and write on it all the words that I have spoken to you concerning Israel, concerning Judah, and concerning all the nations from the day that I first spoke to you, from the days of Josiah to this day. Perhaps the house of Judah will hear of all the evil that I intend to do to them, so that they will repent each man from his evil way, and then I can forgive their sins and transgressions. Now, okay, what was the first task of Jeremiah? Yahweh said to me, do not say I am just a youth. Rather, wherever I shall send you, you shall go. And do not say I am just a youth. Rather, wherever I shall send you, you shall go. And whatever I shall command you, you shall speak. Do not fear them, for I am with you to rescue you. The word of Yahweh. Then Yahweh extended his hand and touched my mouth. And Yahweh said to me, behold, I have placed my words in your mouth. See, I have appointed you this day over the nations and over the kingdoms, to uproot and to smash, to destroy and to overthrow, to build and to plant. My mother had us singing as kids, Satan, we're going to tear your kingdom down. As little kids. Because you've been building your kingdom. And it's about that time, man. You've been being warned. You've been being warned. Now it's time to separate the wheat from the tare. Draw a line in the sand. I'm not going. You can't walk together unless you agree. I don't agree with certain things no more. And while I'm not as outspoken as others, don't think the ability isn't there. I'm just waiting on y'all to tell me. Perhaps the house of Judah will hear of all the evil that I intend. This is the Most High saying this. But the scriptures say he can't be. He says he's gonna hear of all the evil that I'm gonna do. But if you think about what happened, what he's talking about, right? The curses of Deuteronomy. He's been warning and warning and warning and warning and warning and warning and warning our ancestors and his people he chose. Warning for you. That's why he can't be blamed. He's justified in all the stuff that happened to our ancestors in this country. Slavery is justified. Yes, it was a purging of Yasharal. Look at what purge means. He was cleaning us up. He was cleaning away the BS so that what came out on the back end, us, the finest, purest quality that could be of Yasharal, because we believe we had to dig for it. It wasn't given to us. We had to find it and then accept it and apply it. They had it. They had it in the best way. And they actually went through a period of like fake peace and prosperity over there. And where were they at? Portugal. The ones that got traffic to the west coast of Africa, Spain and Portugal. Those Jews. Yeah, they were living pretty good. They were living pretty good, and it probably looked real crazy on a if you look at it like if anybody was keeping up with prophecy, but not really thinking, okay, y'all said this was gonna happen, so whenever he said it's gonna happen, or whenever it happens because he said it's gonna happen, you're like, oh man, he must have forgiven them. Look how they living now. They're doing good. This was what? If Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, and you talking about around like you talking about maybe 1,300 years, 1,400 years after that. Somewhere around there. I'm not sure the math, but you would have thought if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. You wouldn't have thought it would have began at 1619. The actual decree. Well, it didn't begin then. There was already stuff going on, but the worst part of it didn't come until what year was Jeremiah? This was Jeremiah. According to this, 606 BC. 606 BC. But when he gave up the curses in Deuteronomy, that's according to this about 1451 BC, and that's towards the end of Deuteronomy. They say 1450, 1,400 years, and then 1,600 years after. So 14 and 16, that's what, 30? 14, 16, 30. So 3,000 years went by. 3,000 years went by from the curses being decreed to when they began to be fully implemented. And he said it's going to take 400 years for this process to be completed. Then he's going to judge the nation and bring his people out with great substance. We said last week that time ended 3 years ago, as far as the 400 years. Now Yahweh's waking his people up. He's waking up his people. If you ain't waking up, maybe you ain't of his people. You may belong to some God, but it may not be Elohim. The truth hurts. That's why you're supposed to, examine yourself. They say, fear Elohim and worship him who sits on his throne, the one who's created heaven and earth. Who created heaven and earth? The Elohim of the Hebrews, not the God of the Christian church. They are not the same people. If they were, their names would be the same. It would have never changed it if they were the same people. That man, you may not think it matters, but be realistic with yourself. Yahweh said he changes not. He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. But back to this, he says, Jeremiah then summoned Baruch. Jeremiah summoned Baruch, son of Neriah, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of Yahweh that he had spoken to him in a scroll book. And this is what the thing was. It said, Yahweh was like, perhaps the house of Judah will hear of all the evil that I intend to do to them. So basically, he was basically telling Jeremiah, look, we about to remind you. I want you to remind them of what I said I'm gonna do if they don't change their ways. It ain't that he was saying something new. He said, perhaps the house of Judah will hear of all the evil that I intend to do to them so that they will repent, each man from his evil way, and then I can forgive their sins and transgression. He wasn't going to tell them nothing no different than he said in Deuteronomy. What was going to happen. The same thing Moses told them the day he called heaven and earth to stand as witness. If they don't abide by the law, statutes, and commandments, this was going to happen. You know what I'm saying? That's a result of everything that we've been going through. You're not gonna get that conviction reading Paul, reading the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You're not gonna get that type of conviction because the storyline has changed. It's all about a name, which it is all about a name. But pay attention to how they're playing with you, and how the enemy is toying with your intelligence. Something that's you have a natural inclination to want this, so they're gonna take what you should have and give you something that you don't need. Laws, statutes, and commandments you can't live by that aren't good for you. That's Ezekiel 20. Check it out, and ask the Ruach to break it down to you. And Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, I am detained. I cannot go. I am detained. I cannot go to the temple of Yahweh. So you go and read from the scroll on which you have written the words of Yahweh from my mouth in the ears of the people in the temple of Yahweh on a fast day, and also in the ears of all Judah who come from their cities. Shall you read them? Perhaps their supplication will fall before Yahweh, and they will repent, each man from his evil way. For great is the anger and wrath of Yahweh. Great is the anger and wrath that Yahweh spoke concerning his people. Baruch, son of Neriah, did everything just as Jeremiah the prophet had commanded him, to read the words of Yahweh from the book in the temple of Yahweh. It happened in the 5th year of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah, in the 9th month, that a fast was declared before Yahweh in Jerusalem. All the people in Jerusalem and all the people coming from the cities of Judah into Jerusalem. Baruch read the words of Jeremiah from the book in the temple of Yahweh, in the chamber of Gemariah, son of Shaphan, the scribe, in the upper courtyard, at the opening of the new gate, in the presence of all the people. Micaiah, son of Gemariah, son of Shaphan, heard all the words of Yahweh being read from the book, and he went down to the king's palace, to the scribe's chamber, and behold, all the officers were sitting there. Elishama, the scribe, Delaiah, son of Shemaiah, Elnathan, son of Achbor, Gemariah, son of Shaphan, Zedekiah, son of Hananiah, and all the other officers. Micaiah told them all the things that he had heard when Baruch was reading the book in the ears of the people. All the officers then sent Jehudi, son of Nathaniah, son of Shelemiah, son of Cushi, to Baruch, saying, the scroll from which you have read in the ears of the people, take it in your hand and go. So Baruch, son of Neriah, took the scroll in his hand and came to them. And they said to him, sit now and read it in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears. It happened when they heard all the words, they expressed fear to one another, and they said to Baruch, we must tell the king all these things. They asked Baruch, saying, tell us now how it is that you wrote down all these things from Jeremiah's mouth. Baruch replied to them, from his own mouth, he would dictate all these words to me and I would write on the book with the ink. The officers then said to Baruch, "Go into hiding, you and Jeremiah, and let no man know where you are." They came to the king's courtyard and deposited the scroll in the chamber of Elishama, the scribe, and they related all its words unto the ears of the king. The king sent Jehudi to get the scroll, and he took it from the chamber of Elishama, the scribe. Jehudi then read it in the ears of the king and in the ears of all the officers who were standing before the king. Now the king was sitting in his winter house, for it was the 9th month. I highlighted that because I thought that was interesting. Because on our calendar, winter begins the 12th month, December. December, January, February, on the Gregorian calendar. But if you look at the Hebrew calendar, with the year beginning in the month of Abib, which is like late March, early April, you go April to May, or March to April, to May to June, July, August, September, October, November, December. It could still very well have been December, but not as it would stand from the Gregorian calendar. And the fireplace was burning before him. It happened that whenever Jehudi would read 3 or 4 columns, the king would cut it out with a scribe's razor and throw it into the fire. Throw it into the fire that was in the fireplace until the entire scroll was burned up by the fire that was in the fireplace. The king and all his servants who heard all these words did not fear. The king and all his servants who heard all these words did not fear, and they did not tear their clothes. Elnathan and Deliah and Gemariah even begged the king not to burn the scroll, but he did not listen to them. The king commanded Jeremiel, the king's son, and Sariah, son of Azriel, and Shelemiah, son of Abdil, to apprehend Baruch the scribe and Jeremiah the prophet, but Yahweh had hidden them. See, the boys that didn't even want the king to burn the scroll were the ones that suggested to Baruch, go hide, you and Jeremiah. Don't let nobody know where you at. But Yahweh, he takes credit for that. He says, Yahweh had hidden them. The word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah after the king had burned the scroll with the words that Baruch had written from the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, once again, take another scroll and write down on it all the original words that were on the first scroll that Jehoiakim, king of Judah, burned. And to Jehoiakim, king of Judah, say, thus say Yahweh, you burned this scroll, saying, why did you write it? Saying, the king of Babylonia will definitely come, and he will destroy this land and eliminate man and beast from it. Therefore, thus said Yahweh concerning Jehoiakim, king of Judah, he will not have anyone who will sit upon the throne of David, and his corpse shall be cast out into the heat of the day and to the frost of the night. I will recall their sin upon him and his descendants and his servants, and I will bring upon them and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem and upon the people of Judah all the evil that I have spoken concerning them. Yet they would not listen. So Jeremiah took another scroll and gave it to Baruch, son of Neriah, the scribe, and he wrote upon it from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words that the book of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, had burned in the fire, and many more similar words were added to them. So, what Yahweh said he was going to do, he ended up doing. Next chapter, Nebuchadnezzar come through. I don't know, man. That's what he took me to this morning. I opened up to it. And it's like, we keep saying the same thing over and over again. And it don't really seem to matter. You know, it don't really seem to matter. Just like them people, they didn't care. There wasn't no fear in them. They didn't tear their clothes like the Ninevites did. They didn't get no sackcloth and ashes. And this is Yasharel. This is his people. People don't care. They're comfortable. Christianity works better. And the alternative would not be Judaism. It would be seeking the words of Yahweh. That's all he wanted his people to do. Keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, but adhere to his word. They didn't need a king. They didn't need judges. He was their Elohim. He is our Elohim. But we don't seek him for ourselves like we should, so he has to send individuals to speak his words to us because our minds aren't capable of receiving him. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. But Deuteronomy 12:28, observe and hear all these words which I command thee, that it may go well with thee and with thy children after thee forever, when thou doest that which is good and right in the sight of Yahweh thy Elohim. Verse 14, chapter 14, verse 2, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy Elohim, and Yahweh have chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth. If if Yahweh set us aside, and he also proclaimed throughout eternity that there would be a remnant, and everything is falling in place, like the scriptures say they're going to fall into place, what is keeping the majority of people from seeing that? I mean, I know what it is. It's the strong delusion. But the only reason the strong delusion is going to have any effect is because you're not going to have a love for the truth. You got more of a love for what you think or what you've been told, which clearly is not the truth. You know, I'm not saying my mother's a liar, but what I was raised underneath is not the truth. It has aspects or elements of truth in it, but it's not the end all be all truth. It's impossible. It's impossible. But some changes are going to be made. There are some changes on the way. Without fully discussing it with Brad, I'm not going to speak on it. He sent me a text in regards to how he was going to address the same thing that I'm addressing. That I touched on, and I didn't read it. I purposely didn't read it because I wanted to see if what the Most High was already saying to me was going to line up with what he sent. So when I get outside, I'm gonna read it so I can have a laugh with the Most High. But yeah, it's been an interesting trip. But I know something's about to change. Something about to change. There's no reason to keep beating a dead horse. If you want to stay ignorant, stay ignorant. That's your choice. You see what happened to the children of Israel? They constantly kept getting warnings and warnings and warnings and warnings and warnings. And they didn't receive it. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Since we've gotten this truth, we've been trying to the best of our ability, relay it, through our own experiences or whatever the case may be, or just what we've been shown. If it doesn't seem important, then y'all have mercy, I guess. But I'm trying to think, was there anything else? I don't believe there was anything else. So, yeah. Most High Yahweh, I pray and ask that what you gave me, what you allowed to come through me will not be received as something that's coming from me. Be with those whose ears are tuned to truth. We don't know. We don't know how we should really be moving, but all we know is we were supposed to move. You said make a move, come out of her. You didn't give a destination. You didn't give Abraham a destination either. When you told him to take up, get away from his peoples and go to a land that he's gonna show him, you just said come out of that, so that you won't be partakers of her plagues. We were, and that's what we did, y'all. So from this point, I know you about to visit your people. You've given us 3 years to get our minds right. even in the midst of the nonsense, not justifying anything, or because you know how it eats away at me, what my vices are, but I know who you are now, and I'm confident that I know who you are now, and I'm just asking that you be with those believers who have stepped out on faith, come away from that beast power, and are standing and waiting to see their salvation. We got family members that's caught up. I don't know. We pray for them. We've given them to you. We share this information, and if they still don't feel comfortable with making the move, it is what it is. That's like I said. My mother used to tell me, "It's your soul's salvation." It's your soul. It's everybody's individual soul salvation. People ask the question, "Is this information salvific?" Well, it's your soul's salvation. So if it isn't to you, then that's on you. But I pray and ask that whatever direction it is that you're planning on taking us in, I believe you're in control of this. You put this together. You placed me and my brother Brad with each other in elementary school, and you put us back together as adults. And you've used him as an instrument in my life to help me see things clearer, and I'm sure you've used me as an instrument in his life as well. And we've been a help to each other. So going forward, y'all, just prepare us for the next phase of this mission. Thank you for hearing and answering this prayer. And I reiterate the prayer request that went up in the beginning. Be with us going into this week. Protect us, because I know the enemy's going to be mad. Protect us from whatever it is he has set up or set out to be against us. And thank you in advance for hearing and answering this prayer. In Yahweh's name, Amen. This has been Real Talk 101, The Devil Exposed. May the Most High Yah bless and keep you. And remember to seek truth and not the traditions of men. Shalom.
The year was 2017. That's when the Most High Yah chose to reveal to me who he is by name. And through further study, I realized his spirit is actually called the Ruach. And this is what the Ruach gave me. Check it. Knock, 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 there's something trying to get in my soul. My brain is cloudy, I'm feeling like this thing getting old. Too late for excuses, made this bed, I'm laying on bruises. Got scrapes and scars, forget that money, jewelry and cars. Take time to think, stay clear of all the clubs and the bars, cause time running out, before you know the sky will be open. And then when you look, all you gon' see is mountains of smoking. Yeah, it's true, so trust your instincts. Sometimes you gotta chill, lay back and stop and think, cause these streets ain't playing. Slim then again, they play for keeping. You slip up and lose that grip, you guaranteed to end up sleeping 6 feet deep. You on your back, I hope that bag was packed. It's a long trip. If you ain't right, your butt ain't coming back. There's no second chance, no round two, the buck stops here. You shouldn't have listened when you let the devil spit in your ear. But you did, anyone? He told you shoot, you bust that gun. He said take, so you took. You read your butt just like a book. He said run, you started moving out here, cruising for a bruising, guaranteed to end up losing. If you're choosing not to fight, just let y'all elevate our mind, and then you do what's right, straight up. Cheer, the syrup flow about me. Young knucklehead brother from that D.C. Preserved by Yah through his mercy. And now I'm taking this journey. I got my eyes on eternity. I'm rolling the sea. Yeah, how was shot. The syrup flow about me. This young knucklehead brother from that D.C. Preserved by Yah through his mercy, and now I'm taking this journey. I got my eyes on eternity. I'm rolling the sea. Yeah, how shy. I started life off weird. Couldn't find out from my mom I wasn't supposed to be here. She had an IUD, and just in case you didn't know, when she removed that thing, this little egg was supposed to go, but this little soldier held on, and I've been holding ever since on to the truth that has kept me from wholly falling off this fence. He keeps me sane in the midst of nonsense. When my mind starts slipping, bring me back in suggestion to him. His mercy's never ending. Got a story to tell you about this brother from D.C. Here to rock this world. And yeah, I'm reppin' Elohim, the same one OJB. Big old that soldier that held on, still out here trying to find me, singing that same old boring song. I slipped and dipped when I had to, so coke and weed, and still I'm broke. I drank and smoked like a madman. I smoked until I choked, but now you see it's a joke. And trying to get back at me itching. In my mind I be rumbling, but still I'm ending up with stitches. Gotta get it together, cause like I said, he coming back. It's like no matter the weather, we gotta prepare for an attack. Whether we winning or losing, people, we gotta stop boozing. No more sniffing and choking, no more sticking and poking. The spirit is ready and willing, and we both jangling and chilling, making y'all look like a punk while that punk devil here stealing. We hood proud here to tell you that we're making that move. We going hard with your Yahweh, so just get with the groove. Sermonic flow is what he gave us. Spitting truth is a blessing. Big O, we came hard in this piece to teach the devil a lesson. And straight up, shit, the syrup flow about me. Young knucklehead brother from the D.C. Preserved by Yah through his mercy, and now I'm taking this journey. I got my eyes on eternity. I'm rolling the sea. Yeah, how shy. The syrup flow about me. Young knucklehead brother from that D.C. Preserved by Yah through his mercy. Now I'm taking this journey. I got my eyes on eternity. I'm rolling the sea. Yeah, how shy.